This week in comic books, we get The Vigil. Issue number 2 comes out. I'm going to tell you why, after 3 appearances of these characters, why I'm absolutely loving this comic book. And maybe possibly read it yourself. I think you'll enjoy it. Also, in Marvel, we get Incredible Hulk coming out. And we're finally ditching this whole space Hulk, spaceship Hulk thing that was just bad. But we're going back to monsters, and monsters are cool. And what will they do? I have some ideas. I want to talk about it. And in Independence, we get Camp Pickens. And at this point, I'm not digging anything Archie anymore. I don't know if it's just an angry old man thing. I don't know. Let's jump into it. And but first, let me show you something real quick. Check this out.
Welcome to Forever, man. Let's go. Come on. This forever. No surrender.
What's going on, you wonderful weirdos? It's another week of new comic books, and I survived Heroes Con. And when I say I survived, I literally survived. Or at least it feels that way. We'll talk about a little bit of that at the end. At the end of the review and everything. But let's jump into this week's comic books. Talked about what I picked up. Definitely want to know what you think about anything that you read this week. So don't forget, I have a comment section down below. If you read something, you're like, this is what I saw, or this is what it made me feel like. Definitely want to hear from you. Definitely. But let's kick this off with something that I've just absolutely am fascinated by. And I want to talk about it. So it's The Vigil, number 2. We kind of got more of the names of the characters. We're starting to learn more about the characters and what makes them unique in their own right. Now, with that said, they're following standard comic book tropes in here. Like, for instance, right here on the cover, we meet Archie, and we kind of get his kind of backstory a little bit. And it's the troubled soldier, right? The soldier whose family was taken away from him, and he's kind of hardened on the outside, but he has a warm spot for children. We have a villain that kidnapped children, and he's given them superpowers to kind of see what they can do, right? Like testing and stuff like that. We meet a child in here that, Archlight had to kind of deal with in the best way possible, by the way. Like, it wasn't the standard trope. It was pretty smart. I did enjoy it. We have a leader who's kind of mysterious and kind of knows everything already, even though everybody's out there working, and he's got a bit of mysticism behind him as well. So yeah, we're following some kind of tropes in here, but we're delivering it in a way where we have like a team from India, that's kind of their basis, right? And how they kind of interact with the world isn't too far off what anybody else would think in a common sense level. So I'm really enjoying this. And for all you old school comic book cats out there that are like, I don't want to hear anything unless it has something to do, with the top guys, right? You get some LexCorp action in here too, which I felt was smart. Instead of just introducing right up off the bat and attaching to Superman or somebody like that, they're like pulling back a little bit and letting you know that, yeah, they work in that world, right? But they're legit doing their own thing. And I think that's smart. I think that's good. Ram V is solid on the writing on this, and I'm enjoying it. And if you have not picked it up yet, issues 1 and 2 will catch you right up. Their first, I guess we say cameo appearance now. I don't know. It was a short story during the Dawn of DC stuff where we kind of watched them interact with Peacemaker or the Suicide Squad at that point. So that was pretty cool. I hate recommending books to you. Listen to me. Come here. I hate recommending books to you, right? I feel like you should be out there doing your own thing and telling me about them. But check this out. It shouldn't be too late. There's not a lot of hype about this. So I would definitely go out there and try to grab these books and just kind of see. Like you can show everybody and still tell a great story that resonates with people. And I think that's smart. So good job. Next, something I'm kind of floundering on. Again, we're still in the Dawn of DC, and we're dealing with Cyborg now, and his dad being in a robot body, and this kind of messes him up a little bit. We got a sketchy little entrepreneurial guy. Entrepreneur is probably the way the word's been used over the last few years. I'm just going to go on a tangent for just a second, deal with it. It's almost right up there with lawyer and used car salesman at this point. I'm just throwing that out there. Look, if you call yourself an entrepreneur, you're a legit business owner, and you're out there hustling, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but that word's kind of very much evolved over the last few years. And I think this little tech guy kind of is our main street bad guy in it, which Cyborg kind of suspects too, by the way. So apparently he's been working with Cyborg's dad, right? We already know he's a cold person, not very affectionate, almost like a robot. And in this one, for some reason, I don't know why they went this route, but Cyborg decided to download him into himself, the data stream, if you will, because that's how data streams work. So he's like in his head while he's working. And again, it's still the, hey, you need to push yourself more, not good enough, you should be more, blah, 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 going down that road. Will this turn into a heartfelt, meaningful thing at the end? I kind of hope not. I know that's a horrible thing to say. Don't turn me off yet. Just listen to me. We've come to know Cyborg for who he is now. Somebody that's kind of disconnected from his father, even though he had his father there and everything. And his dad always kind of pushed him, but it comes off cold and mean, right? And look what he's been able to accomplish, right? The character's been established. So what happens when you give him the, hey, son, everything's good and I love you few vibes, and what does that leave for Cyborg in the future, right? Just another relaunch of the character. So I'm kind of hoping that, like, there's an understanding that the distance needs to happen, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm going to leave that one alone. All right, next, Superman, number 5. So first off, cool cover, right? If you didn't, come on now, that's a cool cover. So this was interesting because we're still dealing with Farm and Graf, right? And there are villains in this one, and kind of sadistic villains too. They had captured Banshee at one point, enhanced her powers using the Phantom Zone woo-woo projector thing. And she actually damages Superman's hearing. Well, his super hearing, not his normal hearing. I'm going to leave that one alone, because that doesn't, it seems like, you know what, let's just call it woo-woo and move on. So, Jimmy Olsen's apparently been dating her for a while, so, kind of talks Superman into a whole, let's not beat her up type of thing. Shouldn't hit women anyway, but okay. But then what we find out is that our villains, Farm and Graf, they have a very different story with working with Lex Luthor than what Lex Luthor told Superman how he worked with him. And they're not very happy with Lex Luthor and actually get him shanked in prison while keeping, of course, the damaged Superman hearing out of the picture. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm still on board with this, okay. But I don't want it, I want this to be a slow burn. This is one of those stories where I want to see the villains kind of grow into their own right in here instead of just being, a villain in a short series and then gone, which we see all the time in the DC comic book. I kind of really want to see this kind of, let's go down that path. How sadistic are these guys really? And what's the deal with them constantly working on Bizarro? Ooh, yeah, I bet you some good stuff's going to come out of that. So yeah, all in all, I'm really liking this. I could totally miss me with the whole super core thing. That just seems kind of weird to me. Not digging that portion of it. But it was cool seeing Jimmy Olsen in here, especially talking about some of his Silver Age adventures and stuff like that. So I'm still enjoying this. I'm still on board with that. Now, just so you know, I've read 3 comic books that I'm really, really okay with this. So I haven't blasted anything yet. Next, The Incredible Hulk. So like I said in the beginning, thank you. Hulk's going back into more of a horror genre in this one. So, of course, I had to get the Scotty Young one to kind of offset it. First off, the transformation of Bruce Banner into Hulk in this, I don't think we've seen anything, maybe during the Immortal Hulk run, maybe, kind of, sort of. But this, the transformation in this is very detailed and very vivid. And I like it. But we're definitely going down monsters, because now that the Green Door is closed, you may remember that from Immortal Hulk, the last issue, right? The ancient monsters of the past. Some of them have awoken. One of them considers themselves the eldest. And apparently the Hulk, having more of an extended history than just Bruce Banner, right? The character itself and its host, has a longer history. I think they're calling it the I forget what it was, the brittled one or something along those lines. Regardless, it doesn't really matter because she's put the call out to all the monsters out there. So you got like the mole men, little henchmen, you got swamp or man thing. He's a ripoff of Swamp Thing, but regardless, you saw him as well, and you kind of see this other little side story kind of emerging too about a young girl running away from her father, who's a very bad situation. It's a bad situation. So yeah, ancient monsters, current monsters. Now, what is my hope for this book? All right, hear me out on this. Let me know down below what you think. Monster War, but we need to bring back our favorite Silver Age monsters from Marvel. So we're talking gore, like we're talking Fing Fang Foom. I just like saying Fing Fang Foom. That really is. Right? Remember, there was a lot of Journey into Mysteries, or not Journey. Was it Journey into Mysteries? Probably. I want to say it was. Or Strange Tales. One of those where they were just constantly putting out a monster book, basically, in comic book format. I hope they bring back a lot of those. I hope they do. Because I bet you one thing you'll definitely see if they do that, all of a sudden that's going to be the new hot item that everybody's going to want to collect at Comic Cons and everything else. I promise you that. So, I don't know. Keep your eyes open on this one. Let me know what you think down below. Which Silver Age monster from Marvel would you like to see make an appearance in Incredible Hulk? That, I need to make it a poll. But if you know right now, put it down below. All right, next, Ultimate Invasion. So I went with the shiny cover. They had the 1 in 25 variant. But I really liked this one. I don't know. And I'm not like a huge cover collector, I'm sure, as you know, on this channel. But man, that's a sweet looking cover. So what's going on in here? The Maker. You may remember him. He's kind of like a negative version of Reed Richards, right? Mr. Fantastic. It's kind of like the evil version of him. Quite sadistic too. And he also has expanded powers beyond what Reed Richards has, I think is the best way to put it. Has escaped. And of course the Illuminati needs to get involved. You remember the Illuminati. Remember the one book everybody got excited about not too long ago? The Avengers run. Everybody was losing their minds, and then the movie didn't like show those guys there. Because whatever. But yeah, the comic book ones are in here, right? And they're battling the Maker. The Maker obviously escapes at some point, but he makes a quick stop before he escapes and talks to Miles Morales like, hey, you and me are the same. We're from the same place. You want to go back with me? And Miles was like, nah, I'm good where I'm at. Brooklyn's my home. I'm home, Slim. So he takes off. Pew, right? I like the Maker as a character. Yeah, it can be kind of weird just doing the opposite, like a reverse Flash type thing, or just having the exact same character, just bad, right? What does that mean? But there is something truly unique about the Maker compared to Reed Richards that I just find absolutely fascinating. And no, it's not just the name Maker because I make things, but there's something there that you just constantly feel like needs to be let out. And every time we see him, we don't get it. You know it's there when you read it, but it just doesn't come out. And I'm kind of hoping that it comes out in this issue. So I'm staying on board with that. So that's a lot of comic books this week that I actually liked. All right, so this is a weird one. We're into Independence now, so we actually got some issue number 1s coming to you. We got Last Mort 13 and Dreamweaver. This is 2 quick stories. Okay, so Last Mort 13. I don't know how to describe this. I'm not really sure I understand what's going on in the story. The art matches the story. I'll say that. It's macabre. It's dark. There's something about robots. And robots are kind of closely related to humans because they have like witch robots. Right? So woo-woo and science fiction sliced in together. There's a funeral. And then the whole thing's a narrative, but he knows he's a narrative like in a comic book because he says it. I don't know what's going on in the story. Like I don't know how to describe it. And the weird thing is I like it because it's not very favorable to species of human based. But it was kind of weird. The next story is Dreamweaver, and basically it's just an old man, his time has come. It's time for him to pass the torch of being a superhero. He's got a woo-woo magic friend named Sparky. It's kind of an electrical thing, gives him portals and powers to some ability. All in all, not the best read this week, but again, I'm still fascinated by it. I just don't think it started off correctly. Either one of those two stories I thought were just kind of weird to me. Given what these stories are, they should have kind of gave us an origin to why this world is this way and why the old man's this way, instead of just throwing us in the middle of a mission that he failed at and now has to find an apprentice. Like, now we got to go through an origin story with this guy while he's trying to find somebody at the same time. That can be a bit much in a single linear story, especially when only half of it's in a comic book. And the last more thing, I just kind of want to know. I just want to know what's going on in that story. And I still liked it. Look, I want to be clear, I liked it, but I have no idea what I read. All right, next, Camp Pickens. So Archie and the gang are back, and it's again more kind of morbid adult story type telling. Now, I'm not one of those people that think that every comic book should be for kids and adults. Like, that's not my style, right? Characters and stuff should evolve over a period of time, and they should change. I totally agree with that, but I'm just not interested. But there's nothing that's relatable to Archie other than just something that looks like Archie or something that looks like Jughead. In this one, the main vein story is a bunch of kids have to hunt down a bunch of bugs. They keep drinking the bugs to stay alive, but they call it bug juice. You may remember a summer camp or even in the military drinking some Kool-Aid, and they call it bugs juice, right? It's a cool name. And then the other two stories involved in it are just hyper-vised horror stories that try to have like a gimmicky joke to them. And it was just annoying. That was it. It was just annoying. All right, so that's my haul for this week. So, big announcement. I am going to come at you very soon with my Heroes Con haul video. So definitely make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell for that. I got some really cool stuff. I did something kind of cool, but I had to cut everything short due to a little incident. So, for everybody, I'm fine out there. I had a little situation. We'll go into more detail later on it. Definitely, not to keep you hanging, but to keep the video short. But I definitely want to show you what I got. And unfortunately, I will not be doing a montage video this year of Heroes Con due to the situation that happened. So no music and cosplayers or anything like that. But I definitely want to take the opportunity to show you what I got and what was given to me, and just give my shout outs and thank yous to people out there in the community. So definitely keep your eyes open for that, and I will catch you on the next one, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.